Alright, so I have got some clay that I have reclaimed, and I'm going to try and wedge up some of it today. Let's start with a nice solid chunk. I may have to break it down a little bit. So, wedging is one of those things that we're supposed to do, and I don't really enjoy it. I don't know if anybody actually does enjoy it, but it apparently is fairly necessary, particularly when reclaiming, but even with fresh clay, for working air bubbles out and getting a nice smooth consistency in your clay. There's a lot of different ways to do it. The two primary ones are spiral and ram's head. I tend to lean towards spiral, because that's the way I was taught. Now, there's lots of videos out there about different methods and exactly what to do on this. I find for me, I'm still in the initial stages of understanding that I'm trying to produce small folds in order to stretch out the air bubbles and eventually cause them to pop. Sometimes I find when wedging, I introduce more air bubbles rather than taking them out. As you can see, I haven't got a great setup for it here. I'm still trying to figure out a nice firm surface to work on. This clay is a little bit soft. Let's see if I can get two hands. Yeah, that's not going to work as well. With spiral wedging, you end up with this little bit of a spiral. I've gone and mucked it up. Essentially, you're supposed to be rocking the clay back and forth, producing these little folds, and then turning it a tiny bit each time so that it doesn't end up getting too squashed out or long. I'm hoping this is one of those things that as I practice over the years, I will get better at and will eventually be able to produce a nice video of the correct technique. Well, maybe I'll do a check-in in 6 months and see how much I've improved, because I haven't had a chance to do a lot of wedging, particularly of reclaimed clay. The studio I was learning at, the students were not reclaiming the clay, so we didn't have a chance to get our hands dirty. Typically, you want to do at least 100 folds. I don't keep track. Since this is a reclaimed piece and I'm doing it for learning process, I'm probably going to cut it in half, see how many air bubbles I can find, and then continue wedging. When you do finish it up, you want to start with a little bit of a smoother bottom, try and get some of those roll lines out. So, I am finding this clay is quite soft. It's quite a bit softer than what I'm used to dealing with. It's got a little more moisture in it than I would have liked still from reclaiming, so I may leave this blob sitting out on one of my plaster bats to absorb a little more before I try and re-wedge. Got a bit of a fold in it. For now, I want to cut it in half and see how many bubbles we have. Ah. Not actually as bad as I expected. You can see some of the lines, the folds that have been put into it. And there's a little bit of bubbling, so better than I had hoped for my first go around at making a video of wedging. Picking up where I left off, I think I will take this and create 2 small balls. One thing to note is you do want a bit of a rocking motion. If you just flatten it down, it's not going to go as smoothly. I think for me the biggest thing is just going to be lots more practice, not getting too worried that I've introduced some bubbles, because I can practice more and hopefully wedge them out. It is becoming a lot more of a uniform texture, which is nice. Alright, to finish this up, I'm just going to plop these guys onto my plaster. Hopefully let them sit and soak for a little longer, or unsoak. And then I will probably end up wedging them again. Till next time.